is ultimately for sure, if you didn't know the exact numbers of how much players are going for or how much players are charging in today's football, you finally got a concrete answer. You finally got to a place in the 4 years of college football where the market has been set for a premier position in college football when it comes to money. In case you missed it, I know that this is an LSU show. Stay with me. In case you missed it, today it was announced that South Carolina defensive end true freshman Dylan Stewart, who burst onto the scene as a freshman and absolutely destroyed it in the SEC this year, has reworked and signed a new contract. Keyword new contract with South Carolina and their collective for $1.5 million a year. And I think that it was arguably the best thing in a way that could have happened. The reason it was probably the best thing that could have happened here was because you got to actually see, instead of rumor, instead of just like, I heard this guy went for $1.5 million, man. I heard this guy went for 1.5. Jakeem Stewart, I heard he's going for 2. Now you know where the market is really set when a premier edge rusher will probably be the premier edge rusher in next year's SEC, and Dylan Stewart. You ultimately got to see exactly what it is taking. What it takes to get a dude like that. So, when you come off in here, or you text me, or you email the show, or you send us a DM, or whatever it may be, and you jump down my throat, and you say, Blake, F them kids, we ain't giving them no money. And I'm going to say, yeah, but here's the truth. The truth is, on third down against Ole Miss and you need a sack, you'd rather want that guy than you don't. It's the market and the game that we live in. You got to get over this hate that you have in your heart. You got to get over it. Which leads me to wanting to tell you and thank you, some of you, a thank you and a congratulations, because we have partnered up with our good friends over at Bayou Traditions, BayouTraditionsCollective.com. That's BayouTraditionsCollective.com. Last night, we stated that we are doing a raffle on this show. The raffle is that if you send $100 to the collective, we are going to put your name into a drawing, into a raffle. That is the people that have given, the 14 of you. We are going to put your name into a raffle, and probably the end of next week, maybe the week after that. So in a couple of weeks, you and I are going to be live on this show, and I'm going to sit here and shake a Ziploc bag with everyone's name in there, and I'm going to get you a signed win bar, courtesy of our good friends over at Bayou Traditions. The reason I start to show off with that today, we got a lot of portal that we got to talk about. We got a lot of players that are in the portal that we now know for a pretty damn good certainty, high-level dudes that LSU is going after. We will talk about that here tonight. But I want to say thank you to the 14 of you that yesterday and today gave $100 or pledged the $100. Now, if you have been over to the website, to be in the drawing, you have to do more than pledge. You have to give the money. I guess I didn't specify that yesterday. To be in the drawing, to be in the raffle, to get a signed win bar from us, you have to show proof from yesterday until the raffle happens that you have given, not pledged, given $100. Let me tell you why I have been doing this. The reason I have been doing this is because today it was announced on Instagram and social media that Oklahoma, the Oklahoma Sooners, had started off last week a grassroots, as you would call it, pledge where their fans start donating in to their collective, and if they reach $1 million, that it will be matched for the war chest for Oklahoma for them to attack the portal. Of the 14 of you, we have been able to get $1,840 in one calendar day, which in a yearly total, if it happened every week, which it won't, but an estimate of $38,720. I'm trying to do my part. We got to stop, you and I. This is where I'm at the current moment. Where I'm at the current moment is I'm not having any more conversations with anybody about players being paid. I'm not having it anymore. It's the market that's set. Is it a crazy, ridiculous market? Maybe. People are paying that, though, right? The market dictates at that moment where we're at. There's no guardrails. Well, you know where the guardrails could have been? When people with money stop paying people ridiculous amounts of money. But they're not going to do that. So, BayouTraditionsCollective.com. If you give $100, you have to screenshot it. You have to send it to us, DM it to us, post it on Twitter. We will retweet it, and you will get your name in the drawing. So about 13, 14 more days here that you have for us to get you a signed win bar. We will get it. As we spoke for our good friends over the collective, they have provided that for us. I don't have it physically with me. We will get it. We will get it to you in the drawing. That I promise you. That is for sure. So, to the 14 of you that pledged, raised $1,840 yesterday, I do greatly appreciate it. I'm not having conversations with you about money anymore in reference to these kids don't need to be paid. You're going to have to get off your own goddamn lawn. You're just going to have to get off your lawn. Other programs in the SEC aren't with you. They're not complaining like you. They're not. Last week, Oklahoma said, hey, guys, we're trying to do a grassroots effort. We're trying to raise $1 million for a collective. Guys, they raised $500,000. It's on us. It's the world that we live in, unfortunately, but it's the world that we live in. So the market is set. You want a premier edge rusher? He goes for $1 million out of high school. So when you're huffing and puffing and you want to blow a house down because you want 3 little piggies and you're mad, sad, glad, whatever it is, however you feel, that is what a premier edge rusher in the SEC goes for. So you're going to have to get with it. All right. We will talk about portal targets, Kamari and Pimpton. We talked about this at a great length last night. Guys, I come out here and give you as many hints as I can. You know what I mean? As many hints as I can. So we'll talk about Kamari and Pimpton leaving, what LSU is going to do at the tight end room. We'll talk about some of the guys that did enter the portal today that LSU is going to have ties with, and guys that LSU needs to target and go after. Some they have, some they haven't, but we really got to get into that. LSU's got some big needs. We're going to address those needs yet again here tonight in great detail, you and I. And at the end, we might talk a little bit about Baylor, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's get to a couple of it. John Cisco says, fans will begin to walk away. It's already begun. John, I would agree with you if the SEC didn't have the SEC championship game, didn't have a peak viewership of 20 million people. I would agree with you if it wasn't one of the largest ever and peak viewership, I would also agree with you if the sport wasn't growing. Your opinion can be that fans are walking away. The truth is, that's not true. The numbers don't lie. Somebody raised $1.5 million a year to give to a kid because he loves South Carolina. They're not going away, man. It's getting bigger. It's getting massively bigger. Nola P says, I want you, Winari so bad. So Williams Winari, the edge guy who was the number one player in the 2024 class. I think he was the number one, but he was recruited by Kevin Peoples. He was recruited by Blake Baker. So we'll talk about that. Spectrum Wellcare says Sage feels right at home. Don't know what that means, but okay. Wilk says it scares me. I haven't seen Sage enter in the portal notification. Guys, here's the truth. They're going after safety. So either Sage can take a hint or not take a hint. I would suggest for him to walk. Mike says, "Hey, Blake. Hi, Blake. Thanks for everything. No problem, man. I just want us to win." George Seal says, "Tell us the good news." I do have some good news tonight. Now, here's the truth, George, and here's the truth to everybody that's watching. There's 619 of you in here right now. Here's good news. Good news is you're putting your hat in the ring for some of these top premier guys in the portal. Bad news is I have a history of you letting me down. So I'm with you. I understand it. I get it. It is what it is. Stephen Fry, our good friends over at Fry Construction over there in Eunice, Louisiana. Y'all need to get over there and tell them your boy sent you. 161 West Maple Street in Eunice, Louisiana. They do site work. They do oil and gas services, aggregate and soil hauling, waste containers, demolition. They do it all. Give them a call at 337-457-5100. Let them know that Blake sent you on by. But Stefan says, the question is, why would Pimpton want to leave? Isn't he basically first in line to be the guy at the tight end position next year? So we'll talk about that whole situation. We talked about it at a lot of great length last night, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Listen, it's not that difficult in this sense for him, not you, Stefan, but for him. He sees that all these guys are being recruited, and he sees that LSU is going after recruits, and he's like, or portal guys, and he's like, yeah, you're basically telling me that you don't think I should start here, so I'm gone. It's basically what he's telling you. Basically what LSU is telling him. You know, and we gave a lot of massive hints last night. I led off the show talking about tight ends and Kamori and Pimpton leaving. That's why I'm probably going to say something here again tonight that you're going to need to want to pay attention to. I'm going to give you hints. I'm just not going to, I'm going to try my best. Okay, let's get moving here. Where is everybody watching from tonight? Are you in the 225, the 985, the 337, the 504? Where are you watching us from tonight? Put it inside the chat. You know that I love to see where you guys are from, or you're out of state. But where are you? Where's your heart representing from? Where's your heart from? Where's your blood from? See, technically, I guess I'm just always from the 985. North Shore gets a bad rap, but why do y'all move to the North Shore? Why is the North Shore the highest grossing place in the state outside of the 318? Why is that? I don't know. I think a lot of you do love the 985. Stephen says, to hell with competing in today's game nowadays, huh? I mean, look, man, you're going to have to get very creative. You're going to have to go ask Bayou Traditions for a win bar and then come out here and raffle it and try to raise as much money as you can and help them out. I'm trying to help. Rob says, if you want to be a tight end here, you better block. That's for damn sure. That is for damn sure. AJ gave, I guess, his phone number. AJ, is that your phone number? 228-832-4287. Look, all you ladies up in here, if you think AJ is attractive, just give him a call. 281-330-8004 is the place to call. If you want to call into the show, call 281-330-8004. How about that? All right, let's get moving here. I see a lot of people in a lot of different places. It's good. Very, very good. All right, we'll come back. We'll talk about Pimp leaving. We'll talk about the tight end position yet again. Where is LSU going? Who are they targeting? What do we think about them? Where are they at? We'll talk about that next. Big needs for LSU, and then we'll probably talk a little bit about the bowl game too. So got lots to get into. Everyone do me a favor, though, and hit the like and share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. Let's talk about our good friends over at betonline.ag. When we come back, we're going to break all this down. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
Gotta bring me up, guys. So the transfer portal is underway. It is day 2 of tracking the transfer portal here. And we had some news. So last night we had talked about at pretty great length about LSU tight end Kamorian Pimpton. So last night what I told you is that you are not offering all these tight ends and that Kamorian Pimpton was not going to get the notice, that he was probably not going to be a starter here. And that's what happened. I will add to that and say I did get tipped off about it a little bit about 45 minutes to an hour before the show yesterday, and kind of gave me a little bit of concern. I don't think Kamorian Pimpton leaving is a massive concern yet. The reason I don't think it's a massive concern yet is because there are some guys that are out there that, in my humble opinion, are better than him in this conference. Luke Haas at Arkansas is a massive example of that. The Arkansas tight end played in 12 games, was beat up as a freshman, came back, had a pretty damn productive year. The best game that he had as a freshman, he absolutely killed LSU in Death Valley and Tiger Stadium. Going to be interesting to see what he does there. Bauer Sharp is another one. From Southeastern, and from Oklahoma, I don't know if he fits in your system. I don't. I don't think that he fits in what Brian Kelly's identity at tight end is. With that being said, doesn't matter what I think. It would appear that they're going after Bauer Sharp from Oklahoma. And Terrence Carter out of ULL, who I do think from a philosophical standpoint, arguably fits out of ULL, arguably fits your system and what you're trying to do the best. Kid was highly productive at ULL. I think he's a really good blocker. I think he reminds me a little bit, to be real with you, of a little bit more athletic Thaddeus Moss. And I will tell you, Thaddeus Moss, if y'all remember, was really good at the end line of scrimmage at blocking. The best blocking tight end that could also be a weapon for you in the passing game by far was Thaddeus Moss, in reference to what we had seen before Mason Taylor's arrival. I think Mason Taylor's the best tight end you've ever had here. But until that point, Thaddeus Moss, and I could go pull up Auburn film for you. I can go pull up Bama film, which is exactly where it happened a lot, or in the national title game against Clemson, where Thaddeus Moss being on that end line of scrimmage was a massive deal. Now, if you remember, Thad Moss came from NC State, had it somewhat of a productive freshman year, then had to sit out with the old rules, comes in, bada bang, bada boom, was hurt a little bit, comes in with Joe. He starts snapping necks and cashing checks like it's the Catalina wine mixer. Terrence Carter reminds me a lot of that. They're around the same size. They're around the same weight. They move the same. I would take him. He doesn't have SEC production. That's fine. If you want Luke Halls more, fine by me. But we saw Bauer Sharp be productive at Southeastern. He goes to Oklahoma with a team that can't throw a forward pass, and it benefits them and him. He's highly productive. And then Terrence Carter. It's a problem for the bowl game. It is a problem for the bowl game. I don't think Trey'Dez Green is ready to be the guy at the end line of scrimmage. He's not. He's not strong enough. He's not ready to be in that situation as a blocker. He's not ready in that situation that just a full season in the SEC. And here's the truth. I'm not trying to say that Trey'Dez Green is going to playing basketball at the end of the season is going to hurt him. I'm not going to say that. What I will add to that is pretty simple. You've seen a lot of guys that play basketball that when they convert to tight end, they got to pick one or another. Antonio Gates, Jimmy Graham, he needs to get in the weight room. And he needs to get in the weight room a lot. So in the bowl game, yeah, sure, it's going to hurt you. I would expect Bo Bordelon to be in a situation in a place where he's going to put on jersey number 89, and when they want to run the ball, he's probably going to be in there. I'm sure they'll utilize Trey'Dez Green some too to not make it that obvious, but I think it's going to be somewhat obvious. You got to land these tight ends, man. Your tight end room is decimated, and now your tight ends coach, the guy that was recruiting that position, is gone. It's not a great place to be in, really. It really isn't. Because if I'm a tight end and I'm asking myself the question, if I am Carter, if I am Bauer, if I am Luke Haas, like, why would I commit here if I don't know my position coach? Well, I have about – well, I'm not going to say that. My solution is very green. The Green New Deal. How about that? And no, I'm not being political. Money talks and BS walks. You got to hit here. You're in trouble. You're in massive amounts of trouble. In reference to the question we got from our good friend Stephen Fry earlier about why would he leave, I don't think that Kamarian Pimpton was processed. I don't think he was told to walk. I don't think that any of that happened. What I do think happened is that when you're recruiting somebody to start over you and you're going into your third year, yeah, man, I'm probably gonna head out. Long are the days that you're gonna have someone that sits here and waits it out. Garrett Nussmeier is an anomaly. It's an anomaly. And as much as you hate it, we as LSU fans, especially in baseball, and we're going to do that again this year with Jay, we have benefited off of that. Guys, outside of safety, tight end offensively is your worst position right now. You have one dude, and then J.D. LaFleur. And I got to be real with you. I'm not expecting J.D. LaFleur to come in here and be a game changer right now. Not as a freshman. You got to go hit on one of these guys, man. You got to go hit on one of them. And regardless of who it is, I do like all three. If it were my humble opinion, I would go Haas, Carter, Sharp, and the guys that are in there that I think that can play here. I do like Carter a lot. I think he fits the mold of what you like to do. And then at least in the system right now that you're running, Brian Kelly can demote Joe Sloan, and then that system's completely unutilized. And then we're up Shizites Creek because, well, it's not going to be a fit then. At this exact moment, which I can change my opinion on if you do make changes at OC, we can change those. But Green in the bowl game is going to be Green and Bo Bordelon. That's your tight end room. That's your tight end room. Then you would have J.D. LaFleur. Every time I hear LaFleur and I know he's a legacy, I think of dodgeball. Do you ever think of dodge? Sticking the LaFleur. Oh, God. So, look, that's who you're after. That's who you got to land. Haas will be here tonight, if I'm not mistaken. He'll get in, and he'll go on a visit tomorrow. And my humble opinion is for Luke Haas, you got to make sure that he doesn't leave. The deal that you give to him has to be more than what he knows he's going to get elsewhere, and you got to tell him not to go. You got to lock it down, man. If the kid goes, anything, if the kid leaves and goes somewhere else, anything can happen. You need him. You desperately need him. Guys, God forbid if you don't. God forbid if you don't. Anyway, all right. So there was some other big news in the portal today, and we have talked a lot about the portal. We talked a lot about safety. We've talked a lot about, what do they do if Nuss leaves, or even if he comes back, what do you do at quarterback? We've talked about a lot of those things. The thing that we have not really focused our attention on, has been on the defensive line. Let's run through that very quickly. Now, Williams Nwaneri, the number one overall player in last year's recruiting class, in the 2024 class, who committed to Missouri, who actually committed while Blake Baker and Kevin Peoples were there. I don't think that matters. I'll get to that in a moment. Entered his name into the portal. Last year, he had 1 sack and 1 tackle, and that came against UMass for Missouri. I know a lot of people want to talk about Williams and say that, well, Blake Baker and Kevin Peoples recruited him. You're definitely in. I think that it does give you a leg up on the connection and a relationship that you will have than maybe some others. Kid was literally recruited like this a year ago. It's not like relationships weren't built, and there's not like that. There's probably not going to be a lot of people that go after him. The non-production doesn't scare me yet. What did you think of him as a prospect? Obviously, Blake Baker and Kevin Peoples saw something in him. That's why they brought him in. Guys, Williams Nwaneri, who is the 6'6", 270-pound DN, he's going to go for a nice chunk of change. And what I would say to you here is there's a twofold. The twofold is if you bring in Williams Winnari, you're going and you're basically you'd be paying a guy to be a starter that does not have the experience versus some of the other guys that you already have offered at that edge position that we'll talk about here in just a moment, but that you have offered that you do know that has the production and can play. We saw a lot of these guys in the Big Ten do it, Big Ten being the second best conference. My opinion with Williams Winnari is pretty simple. What is his asking price? Does it fit your budget? And if it fits your budget, go after him. I think you do take a very big risk with him specifically because you didn't see the production. But you also are in a place where maybe some things didn't work out. He committed. He thought Kevin Peoples was going to be here. They left. He wasn't going to leave the money. I don't know. What I do know is that the upside is massive. The upside for him is astronomical in the sense that he is built like at 6'6", 270. He moves, he bends, he gets after it. I mean, guys, he didn't see a lot of playing time, and when he did see playing time, he got a sack. So it honestly depends. What is Kevin Peoples and Bo Davis? Bo Davis too. Kevin Peoples, Bo Davis, and Blake Baker and Brian Kelly think enough about Williams that they would want to do it. You got to make sure that your evaluation here is pretty sound. And if it's sound and you want to make the leap, by all means, let's go make the leap. It's your name tied to it, not mine. But go make the leap. If you think the guy can be a perennial all-star, perennial all-conference player, which 7 LSU Tigers were announced today that they were, or 8, whatever one it was, 7 or 8, that they were announced to the coaches, all SEC team. If you think he can be that type of guy, if you think he can be a first-round pick, if you think you can be an All-American, then what discussions are we having here? Because if you start baffling about money, if you've evaluated and you think he is that type of guy, you can't bow down. You're not in a place where you can start bowing down. Sometimes you're going to have to overpay a little or pay a little over what you think to get a guy. It's just the nature of the beast. And here's what I'd say on a guy like that. If you believe in him that much, here's what I'd say. At some point, listen to me carefully. Guys, at some point, let me back up. It would appear that when LSU gets, and Brian Kelly confirmed it, I don't know why I'm trying to tippy-toe around it. Brian Kelly admitted in his last press conference that, hey, man, some of these guys in high school recruiting or portal, teams want them worse than we do, and they're overspending. I think that you need to call a bluff because LSU has not been playing poker. They've been playing checkers. They have not been playing chess. They have been playing checkers. Call their bluff. Call their bluff. Get one of these big guys from like Winnari. Get one of these guys like Thieneman from the safety from Purdue. Get one of those guys, go on social media, tweet out a link to the collective, and you know what hint that it's being sent there. Hey, man, we gonna promise it. We need you. We need your help to deliver. I'll do it. You land one of these top guys, like the top safety, the top edge guy, I'll send $100. Hell, I'll put my own name in my own raffle, which if you're watching the clip, send your $100 to the Bayou Traditions Collective for your chance to win a signed win bar. So, very interesting. He's not the only one that we need to talk about. I'll get to edge back in just a second. We need to talk about the interior defensive line because I do think that you have a need there. I do think that you saw Don McKinley against Oklahoma, not trying to take a shot here, against a bad offensive line. Guys, they were 130th in the country in pressure rate. They were bad. Oklahoma's O-line was very bad. I still think that you need more along the interior of the defensive line. I thought that Bro Davis brought in a damn strong class with guys like Zion Williams and others. Other than Zion Williams, which Brian Kelly also admitted, they don't know if anybody's ready to go next season. And so for that reason alone, what I would say is you need to go get a guy in the interior. I do think that Gio Paez is interesting. I do think that Jacoby and Guillory coming back is interesting. Sean Washington, Don McKinley. You need another guy. And if there's a guy out there that you think that not only could be a rotation piece, but can be an every down guy for you, along with a guy like Don McKinley, if he works himself into that, then you're starting to rebuild that defensive line. I do think Zion Williams, from what I've seen on film and from what I hear from staff and from what Brian Kelly has said, I do think that he can come in some situations, and if he progresses good and he does some really good things during spring or does good things during the fall, you can see him in some odd man front situations. He is that big. He's not. I would say he's a more athletic Tyler Shelvin, not as fat. With all due respect to Tyler Shelvin, a lot of us are fat. I'm in that same camp with you. So I do think that there are some guys that are out here. A lot of questions I fielded this week so far has been about Alabama transfer Jaheim Otis. Guys, I don't feel good on Otis at all. And if you've been on the forum, I've kind of given you hints about that in some of your questions. I don't think that I don't feel good about Jaheim Otis at the moment. I do think Ole Miss is involved, but more importantly, I think Colorado is involved here at a massive rate. You never know what's going to happen, but that is a D lineman that I do think that you are going after, and unfortunately, I don't think that you're going to be able to land him. I don't know. We'll see. But Hunter Osborne is somebody else, was a Bama guy as well. And I bring him up because I went and started asking some questions about some of these interior defensive linemen in the portal. And the thing that was given back to me was from the Texas side of things and maybe from some LSU side of things that Hunter Osborne was a guy that I think Bo Davis really liked coming out of high school. And I do think that he would personally want to go after. What's interesting about him is I think that there are two schools of thought with Hunter Osborne out of Bama. He only had 3 tackles this past season, didn't play a lot. What is the ceiling for him? What if he is a bust? What if he doesn't produce? Those are some question marks that I do think that come up. I have heard nothing on Hunter Osborne at the current moment, nor have I asked. The only thing that I really asked was did Bo Davis like him coming out of high school and was going to let the chips fall where they may at the current moment? He is somebody that I do think that they should look at and possibly even will be looking at here too. Ja Jarrett out of Georgia, 2 seasons, he had 9 tackles. Guys, here's what I tell you about Ja Jarrett. He is a 6'5", 310-pound defensive tackle out of Georgia. He entered the portal today. It always scares me when D linemen from Georgia go in the portal. Scares the shit out of me. Because Kirby ain't going to ever let those big hog mollies leave unless they are really good. Unless they're bad, excuse me. Unless he doesn't, think. I think we're having some technical issues here. Maybe work itself out. I don't. That one scares me. That one scares me. I don't know enough about the young man to come in here and tell you that he would be a problem if you went after him. There's some guys. It's like It's like Saban cutting a DB. Right? It would be like if Ed Orgeron were in today's world and Ed cut an interior defensive lineman. So there comes a part where I don't like that one. I don't know enough about the kid. It instantly, my antennas go up. Like, beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. Massively going off. So we'll see. All right, a couple more along the defensive line here. So you have linebacker edge Jack Pyburn out of Florida. Interesting coming from Jack Pyburn out of Florida. He asked for assurances and guaranteed assurances by Florida, and they wouldn't match it. This kid came in halfway through a season, had 60 tackles. Halfway through a season, you heard me right. 60 tackles, 2 sacks, and 5 tackles for loss. Jack Pyburn can play. He can play here. He would do great here. He would do good here. Jack had a really good game against you. So I think Jack Pyburn would be a very interesting look. So we talked about this other one last night, the Purdue edge, Will Helt. Fundamental guy. Good. I don't know if he's athletic enough to be a premier pass rusher, but we'll see. I mean, those are the guys that you know what you're getting out of them. So we talked about Williams Winari earlier, and we're talking about Pyburn, and you're talking about Helt. The interesting thing is, do you go with something you feel pretty sure that you know about, and Olds from Kent State that they offered? Do you go with something that you feel really good about, right? That you know the kind of production that you're going to get? Or do you go with a guy that's highly recruited, rated, all that kind of stuff? Do you go with the unknown? In reference to defensive line, so I wrap that all in the bow of who they're going after, some early targets here. In reference to the D-line, I think you have issues. You're not at a competitive rate along your defensive line that I think that can get you to a playoff. What does every team in the SEC that finished above you have in common right now? Because they're dominating the line of scrimmage. They are dominating the line of scrimmage. Georgia, Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss. Ole Miss, guys, Ole Miss's philosophy worked. The problem was it worked from one side of the ball, and they misevaluated or misinterpreted what Lane could do and how a wizard he could be offensively, and it bit him in the ass. They're about to go in the portal again, and they're about to attack again, and they're about to get dudes again. And they're not doing what they did last time. They're going to go just get dudes from the portal that they think that they can play on both sides of the ball, and they're going to throw shit against the wall, but the shit that they throw up against the wall is gold-plated, so even though it might be a little shitty at times, you might get a shit player here or there, at least you're going to get a good gold piece here or there too. You got to go get some of these dudes, man. You got to go get them. You saw what the market was set at today. Dylan Stewart set the market for me at edge. He set the market. So now you just get to a place where if there's a premier one out there, you go and get it. Okay. Couple other pieces here that I think that we need to discuss before we get moving. Actually, I'm going to do this. So we're 46 minutes into the show. Here's just some players. I'll tell you if we're going after them or guys that I think that LSU has looked at. How about that? Because I need to get to a break. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 players that we need to talk about. So some other guys that they have targeted, some other guys that they've talked to, and some personal guys that I personally want here in this class too that I hope LSU goes after. as well. So let me do that. Let's take a quick break, pay some bills. When we'll come back, we'll talk about some guys that I know LSU's going after, some high premier guys that they're going after, and maybe some portal ones that I want to see. We'll do that when we come back. Stay with us. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
All right. So there are a lot of portal guys that are out there that are highly rated, highly talented, that LSU has contacted and that we have not discussed here, that I desperately think that LSU needs to go after. Dylan Thineman, or Timon, whatever his name is, the Purdue safety. The kid's got 2 seasons of 106 tackles and 104 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 6 interceptions, a sack, and 7 PBUs. The kid can play. In an interview with On3, he said, and I quote, I'm going to take probably a visit to Ohio State and Oregon, but there are other teams that are involved in talking to me and want me to take a visit as well. LSU being in the fold with that as well. So the Dylan safety, the Dylan kid from Purdue, the safety, here's what I'd say. What I would say is he is going to be highly regarded for every big name program in the country. As he mentioned, Oregon, Ohio State, LSU, and others have reached out to him and want him to play for their team. Guys, this is the ultimate flex that you could do. Notre Dame is also in that fold, but Notre Dame was expected to be the early leader there. But then all of a sudden, here comes these collectives in the SEC and the Big Ten, and they're like, uh-oh, we're in trouble. Our secret's out of the bag. So a safety that's got over 200 tackles on the season, has 7 tackles for loss, was one of the best players and safeties in the Big Ten a year ago. Great in coverage, great coming downhill. I think that you need him, and he admitted on his own volition that he had been contacted by LSU. I want him. And I will tell you, he is worth the money that he's about to get paid. He's worth it. He's worth every single penny. You do not have a good safety room right now. Your safety room is below average. To be real with you, it might be well below average. Where you stand at the current moment. I take him, man. I think he's a good player. I think that they got to get everybody involved here. I think that there is no stone unturned that you can have here for him. I think you got to put your what down on the table and go after him. I really, really, really do. So it's going to be interesting. Prince Will Yellen, the edge rusher out of Nebraska, is another one that LSU has been in contact with. The younger brother of Princely Yellen is in the portal and has been talking to Texas A&M. He has been talking to Ole Miss, and he's been talking to LSU. He'll be in A&M in the next couple of days. I trust Mike Elko when it comes to evaluating defensive linemen. He has killed it everywhere he's been on evaluating D linemen and bringing them in. He was a massive part of the D-line that A&M had that was really good this past season because he still recruited a lot of those guys and brought a lot of those guys in. And I think, look, man, they're not bringing him in on the visit if they think that he can't play. So Prince Will Yellen, somebody else that you're after. You're throwing your name in the hats for some of these top guys in the portal. I would say about Prince Will Yellen, he's not as productive yet as his brother was at Ole Miss and at Florida. I do think that he has a much higher motor, and he's going to be a hot commodity. To be frank with you, I don't think you're going to get him. I think Ole Miss and A&M are going to slugfest at one another, and they're going to shake the tree until all the apples fall out, and I think that kid goes elsewhere. Could he just want to play at LSU? Yes. But if you look at anything on the, from the Ole Miss media, they pretty much feel that kid's a lock to them. I don't know. And we did bring up that they have offered a lot of guys at edge. It's going to be interesting to see. I just don't know. I know you may have contacted the kid. At this current moment, I don't know where you stand on that. All right, another position and another player that went in the portal that I think that you got to go after. Now, the last two, LSU has contacted these young men, and they're going after them. The next one, LSU, to my knowledge, has not reached out to this next player. That is running back from Arkansas, Braylon Russell. He had 304 yards rushing last year on 47 attempts, 2 touchdowns, 6.5 yards per carry. You should remember, Russell, he came in against you and had some massive runs and was running your entire defense over. 6'2", 250 pounds. Why do I want him? Blake, you got Harlan Berry, JT Lindsey, and you have Caden Durham that's in the backfield. I think that you can play rough and I think that you can run over dudes with him. I think that you need a running back. And I think that if Caleb Jackson is not going to develop and progress the way that you wanted it to, and you did not play him, and what was even more wild, you made him a power back knowing that you were going to a more throw-happy style, and you completely screwed the kid up. I don't know what's going on with Caleb Jackson, but I felt like that you needed a portal running back last year. You need a running back and a guy that you feel comfortable with in college. You can never have enough backs that you can line up, run the football with. Guys that, hey, man, you might not be getting some push on your offensive line, but this guy will find a little itsy-bitsy crease, and he'll put his head down, and he'll start running dudes over. I want one of those guys. I don't think JT Lindsey will be ready in time, and if he is ready in time, he'll be maybe 205, 210 pounds, and I just don't know if that's going to be enough. I want one of these backs that can move, that can run, that is a freak of nature at 250 pounds, they'll put their head down and go run somebody over. Your running back room at the current moment, and I don't know what happens with Caleb Jackson, it's a lot of smaller guys, a lot of guys that either are at or around 200 pounds. I don't know if LSU is going to go in the portal. They don't even have to agree with the style of what I think that you need, and that's fine. We can have difference of opinions, but you need an Alfred Blue. You need a Terrence McGee. You need it. I can't say Jeremy Hill. You need an early year Stephen Ridley. You need a guy that you can just hand the ball off to, and he's going to find whatever that they give him, and he's going to go get yards, dude. Go just run some guys over. Put their head down. Let's go get 4 yards. Arr. I begged and pleaded all last year to go and get a portal running back without knowing anything that was going to go on the Trey Holly case, which the Trey Holly case should be wrapping up here in the next couple of weeks. So it's going to be interesting to see. Maybe they don't go with a running back depending on what happens with Trey Holly. What I'd say, even if Trey Holly comes back, LSU did go and get a portal running back last year. Blake, who in the hell did they go get? John Emery. And then when John Emery went down, if you remember, Caden Durham went down early in the year. He broke some toes, dislocated some toes. You moved Juwan Johnson to running back. You had to move a defender, a guy that you did not believe would play offense in the beginning of the season. And if everybody would have stayed healthy, you would have never moved him over to offense. Juwan is a good player. He ain't no running back. He's not a running back, not in my opinion. Not in my opinion. So you get to a place where I think that you need to go get a back. You ain't got John Emery, and unfortunately he got hurt. John Emery's career was one of the worst, and sometimes some of the best. And blimps and moments. You got to go get somebody, man. I'm sorry. I'm not going to – I think Harlan Berry is a dog. If you think 175, 185-pound running back as a freshman is going to have success running in between the tackles, you're an idiot. And I'm not talking about success against non-SEC opponents. What I'm talking about is success if, let's say, Ole Miss goes and gets a really good defense again next year, or you face a team with a really good defensive line next year, Clemson. It's hard to convince me right now that if you need a 3rd and 1 that you line up Harlan Berry there. I love Caden Durham. I don't think that that's the back and the guy that you want in that situation. You know that, and I know that. I don't think Braylon Russell is, for what it's worth, I don't think Braylon Russell would come here. I do think that South Carolina makes a hell of a lot of sense for him. I'm not going to call him Rocket Sanders because Rocket Sanders had 1,000 yards before he went to South Carolina. The physical style of this league beats up people. And this is another reason why I do it. Let's say that you do get up in the second half against Texas A&M and you don't blow a lead. And, yeah, maybe you're not able to run the ball with complete success, but maybe you do have a back that puts their head down and go and gets you 4 yards on first down, 4 yards on second down. It's 3rd and 2. And you're like, you know what we're going to do? You know what we're going to do? We're going to bite down on our mouth guard. We're going to run the ball again. We're going to run the ball again. I'm telling you, I'd do it. Because when you see a kid like this and he's running dudes flat over, I'd take him in a heartbeat. All right. So we talked about Barry and Brown. We also talked about receiver. Here's one that we know that LSU has reached out to and contacted. Nick Anderson. So Nick Anderson is the wide receiver, the redshirted sophomore. Well, he will be a redshirted sophomore, or redshirted junior, maybe. So redshirted junior, who is a redshirted freshman, had 38 catches, 798 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Dude's a freak. Nick Anderson is going to be a lot of people's top target at wide receiver. When he's healthy, the kid is a flat-out superstar. People see the big catches. I mean, guys, 800 yards and 40 catches. That's insane. And he's got 10 touchdowns. He was a freak of nature in the red zone for everybody. Was a star. Nick Anderson is the guy that you reached out to. To be real with you, I do think the receiver is a position where a lot of teams have not paid the top money dollar for yet. Now, there have been some. Some of them got about $1 million. Ain't nobody going over that. Nobody's going over that. You got a lot of small, fast guys in your room right now. This Kyron Billiard, who was over 6 foot, how does he look? God forbid if one of these freshmen can be a Malik Neighbors type. Remember Malik as a freshman? Malik had 500, 600, 700 yards and 4 touchdowns. Unless you had something like that happen, ooh-wee. Aaron Anderson's a dog, but you need a receiver. You need somebody that's over 6'2". Bringing in Barry and Brown would be great, but I think Nick Anderson's going to be one of the top targets in the country. You have been reaching out to him. We'll see what happens there. Let's move to defense to end up and finalize it here. So there's somebody that I don't know if LSU has reached out to or not, but I think is a bona fide superstar in college football. Rayon Strader, the kid, the DB, the corner from Miami of Ohio. Stay with me here. Rayon Strader had 31 PBUs in 2 seasons. As a corner, he had 100 tackles. The dude will come up and hit. The dude is been covering everybody in the MAC. I mean, just absolute superstar. Dude's about to get paid. Dude's about to get paid. And let me just tell you this. Unless something incredible happens, I think this kid's coming to the SEC. I think this kid has shown that he can cover. It's not as if Miami of Ohio didn't play D1 opponents. They did. Guys, he had, 3 against Ohio State or whatever it was as a true freshman or what? I forget the year. Guys, against Ohio State, he had 3 or 4 PBUs. They went right at him thinking, who's this little dumb freshman out here? And dude just started going off. This Strader kid can play. Anybody you talk to about corner, Corey Raymond the GOAT, Corey Raymond this, Corey Raymond that. Not debating you on that. What I am debating you on is something pretty simple. Guys, I don't care what your philosophy is. You got to bring him in. You got to bring him in. You got to take a shot with him. This kid's been all over the place. He's going to play in the SEC. He will play in the SEC. I would take a very hard look at him and see what happens. But he's going to play. Zachariah Pulser from Jacksonville State. We mentioned him a little bit yesterday. I'd wrap it up with this. A lot of people in the industry, a lot of people that I think do a very good job. I think Cooper Pratanga at 247 does a fantastic job. Coop Dog, as he's known in these people streets, He brought up an interesting point about Zachariah in the sense of he thinks that he is a true star safety. What he meant by that was the position star. Thumbs up in the chat if you've heard Brian Kelly, Blake Baker, or myself talk about the star position on defense. I know and you know that I don't know if you can be worse than what you were defensively at safety a year ago. I could it be worse? Yeah, it could be worse, I guess. I guess it could be tons worse. Guys, it's very bad. That's why the Dillon kid from Purdue, that's why this kid, Poyser, however you say it, I don't know. We'll figure it out. You need safeties. You need safeties. Clip this and go send it to Poyser. Like, let me be the voice to tell this kid, listen, young man, I know you're going on a visit at Auburn. I get it. They have recruited safety really well. You're going to have to battle out for a spot. I'm telling you. This kid's a day one starter at LSU. It's where you're at right now. He's a day one starter. He's going to start. He's going to play. We'll see. They've identified that position in that kid. We'll see. But yeah. All right. Let's see. Oh, a lot of thumbs up. Y'all know it's true. Y'all know it's true. Bo Knows says, so if a 6'2", is 6'2" the standard, what LSU need, that means no Hudson. I'm not saying that. You can have a guy like Malik. You can have but those guys are 6 foot, 5'11", 6 foot. You know, 5'11" being the smallest. You get what I'm trying to say here. What I'm just trying to say is, guys, you have 5'7" Aaron Anderson. You have 5'8" Xavion. You're going to need somebody that can go over the middle. I love Aaron Anderson. Aaron Anderson is fearless. I'm not saying Aaron Anderson isn't fearless. Come on now. You guys, y'all know what I'm talking about with that. Y'all know what I'm talking about with that. With some of these guys, I'll say this too. I don't know if Kyron Lacey's playing in the bowl game or not. No clue. Let's just assume that he doesn't for a second. If he doesn't, you got guys like Billy Ott, Jelani Watkins, Chris Hilton, I guess. It's going to be interesting to see. Is Garrett Nussmeier the guy throwing them the football? You know, I had put on my sheet tonight in the notes to talk about, but I'm just not going to do it. What do you do at quarterback? What do you do at quarterback? I know you say bring back Nuss. I don't disagree with you on bring back Nuss. But man, God forbid, guys, Nuss goes down. AJ Swan and Colin Hurley are not your answer. They're not your answer. Dylan Smith says, can we pull Colin Simmons away, Bo Davis, and CS? No, you can't. No, you can't. This is what I've been. So let me tell y'all, let me give y'all, before we get out of here, let me tell y'all a little something. Here's my little something. When the UFC fight was on last weekend and you were sitting around the living room and having a glass of bourbon with some of your buddies because you invite them over, whatever, let me tell you what I've been saying to my buddies when they ask me about LSU football right now. I start off every single conversation in saying, I would have paid $1 million. Hindsight's 2020. You can't convince me right now that Colin Simmons isn't worth the money that he was asking in high school. You can't do it. Guys, he literally saved their team's chances to win the SEC championship. You get that. as a true freshman, when Trevor Etienne busted off the long run, you had a defensive end who gave max fucking effort and was able to track down a running back 55 yards down the field that held Georgia to a field goal that got them into overtime. You cannot convince me. You cannot convince me that play is not worth the money that he's asking for. You can't. You can't. Because when the game is on the line, it's worth every single penny that you raise. I don't know, man. But I do know this. We'll see y'all soon. Y'all have a good night, man. Peace out, Girl Scouts.